Итак, всем привет, с вами Хойми, и мы продолжаем прохождение игры Stories The Path of Destinies. Я таки выучил название. Итак, мы открыли 3 истины из 4, но не так быстро. Формально я бы очень хотел, прям очень хотел бы выбрать другие, как-то умудриться получить все концовки. Просто для того, чтобы, что называется, такая галочка, что мы увидели все вариации истории. Но если не получится, если мы соберем совсем по чуть-чуть, такова жизнь. Что мне, честно сказать, не хочется прям сразу бабаха к истине, тем более у нас тут много всего. Поэтому давайте пройдем. В этот раз я хочу... вернись обратно. В этот раз я хочу получить все истории вот этого злосчастного кролика. Их всего тут 3 осталось. Так что будем пробовать. Когда вот этого интервью я слышал.
The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced. Reinardo knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong.
Нет, мы не пойдем точно.
But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert, as tempting as it was to explore ancient mysteries. There was a war going on. And also, his old friend Lapino needed rescuing. Of course, Reinardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lapino had betrayed the rebellion. But could Reinardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Мы берем сейчас. Нельзя зависеть на новых старых друзей.
Lapino.
Странный
Apparently,
чувак.
the mad rabbit had sold a Pegasus that he did not exactly own. Lapino always wiggled out of trouble, given time. But he was out of time. Lapino's frantic message said that the Ravens were going to kill him for being a rebel spy. And that he had a clever plan. If the fleet reached him first, they'd string him up for that. Never mind the winged horse. Or so Lapino had told him over the far speaker anyway.
Ну что ж, посмотрим, может как-то могут все-таки другую постановку как-то выползем. Не знаю, отведем Зенобию по станциям или типа того. Персик знает. Долгая загрузочка всегда. Посмотрим вообще. Можно было бы тупо взять концовку, найти истину Иблиса и торжественно фигачить по истине, но это неинтересно. Слишком коротко. А при том, что игру проходит в среднем за час с хвостиком, так это ж святое дело, дойти нормально.
Lapino had apparently managed to confuse the judge by arguing that he hadn't actually stolen the winged horse. He'd only sold it. Wait, where was the prison? The village was empty. Had everybody fled the Ravens?
Ты сама, да? Слышь, ворон.
Hey, I'm a firefox. Thought Reinardo.
Firefox.
The Ravens had taken the town. Reinardo had seen villages emptied like this. All the people taken away to be sacrificed in the Emperor's secret rituals. Reinardo hoped the people were just hiding. Well, they really needed to redecorate anyway.
Ну давай. Да, он набагует. Так, тут у нас что-нибудь есть? Класс. Нифига нет. Ладно. Тебя тоже не хочется разбирать, понятно. Финиш хим, все.
His sword food teacher used to say power gems were cheating.
Вот это круто.
It's cheating fart.
Так, а сюда что? Жалко карту нельзя увидеть в полном развороте. Да, в этой части нас не было. Угу, понятно. Хитро. Так, сколько у нас? Так, самоцвет у нас уже встал до 2 уровня, отлично. Из мечей у нас только осталось 76 рублей. Ну, неплохо. Ага. Ты сейчас вообще сюда приближаешь, называется.
It was time for a little exploration.
Маленький такой, да, разведки. Вау. Между прочим, было эпично. Сразу 3-го уровня. Ага. Шанс найти, что называется, приключенческую куклу увеличивать. Давай, Рейнардо, пошли. О, у нас мы еще и уровень когда-то успел поднять. Когда? Рейнардо, когда ты успел? Так. Ага. Так, это у нас урон от выстрела крюком, на сторону могу накрыть. Нет, это мне не хочу. Вот это вот. Ведь противник один удар почтивится по достижению. Ооо, круто. Надеюсь, на записи не так сильно шум, который тут происходит. Ой, это уже тут напали. Колодец, опять в колодец. В колодец, в колодец. Проблема, что ли? Ух ты. Тут мы тоже не были. Грибы. Так, вороны.
Ravens were landing everywhere. The advanced guard. He better get moving. If they got to Lupino first, they'd eat him for breakfast. Or snack. Ravens weren't picky. If they got hungry, they sometimes forgot to interrogate their prisoners. Even top spies like Lupino. Well, unless he really was a traitor, obviously. Then they'd probably pin a medal on his chest.
старый
Dirty
пень.
and bloody, Reinardo finally reached Lapino. The rabbit was practicing his shuffle. Reinardo recognized the cards. It was Lapino's favorite deck. Oh, I thought you were in danger. I am. The ravens are coming. Oh, the prison thing. Right, yeah, well, see, this guard owed me 53 ducats, so we made a deal. They're very reasonable people, actually, for weasels. Now, I got a brilliant plan to kidnap Zenobia. We capture Zenobia, we find out what she knows, and that's the whole war right there. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Capture the Emperor's greatest general, who happened to also be a deadly sorcerer, and, oh, his only daughter? That would be worth it. And it would be nice to see her. He'd always had a soft spot for her. And he felt sure she had one for him. On the other hand, he could still get to the core of the Sky Ripper. Even if he couldn't get the whole thing, it must have great power.
Я пойду опять по этому пути нанести визит в потому что я хочу изменить выбор в плане того, что не пойти с ней в горы, а в допросную. Попробуем не изменить место, не меняется, не выйдет серия.
And you're still mad for her. The rabbit reminded him. The rabbit had a point. And Reinardo had a feeling she'd want to see him again. Who knows what could happen between the two of them this time around? She knows all his plans, chuckled the master spy. She won't give them up easily. She'll tell the interrogators, all right, said Lapino. Taking her would change the game, all right.
Погнали. Я как-то думал, что когда мы истину раскроем, что-то бы больше вариантов-то будет. Но нифига. Уже. Видимо, только с истиной. Обида, Петербург.
The city was already under Zenobia's control. I had to admire her efficiency. Reinardo shivered at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Could he really turn her over to them? But this was war. It wasn't meant to be pretty.
Пойдем привычный путем. Ты сундуков сюда приперлись? И твои дивизия? Что такое-то? Не очень, вот именно что не очень. Да.
Sometimes Reinardo really hated inanimate objects.
Класс, конечно. Повествование шик, блеск, благодать называется. Погнали, мой друг. Тут мало руды. В горах по 6 штук дают. Как же ты знакомишься с правилами градации, нет? Это я крута, конечно. Не, я хочу здесь. Привычный сундук.
This chest contained a vorpal sword.
Шутки, точно ничего не бывает.
Vorpal swords don't exist. Why was Lupino urging him to capture Zenobia? Obviously it was a trap. But you never knew how Lupino thought. Sometimes his plans were so convoluted they did the exact opposite to what Lupino wanted. There must be some way to play him, Reinardo thought.
Это можно сыграть, так ты мне вариант ответа-то дай.
Reinardo remembered when he'd first stolen one of these. Good times.
Вау, какое комбо. Ничего, подхиливаемся. Тоже не проблема.
So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a slightly complicated plan that involved geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Reinardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Reinardo.
Нет, сейчас время.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sure you know better, said Lupino.
Сорян, но нет. Мы пытаемся новые концовки, поэтому нам не нужны. О, да. А блин, сундучок лежал, все дела.
He hadn't noticed that path before.
Да не совсем, как бы, ну. Опять он тут этот. А, опять. Это то же самое, да. Мы тоже читали в одной из прошлых серий. Да все ясно, у меня в комментах уже есть.
But you could see the benefits everywhere.
Прям, уах! Сколько там комбо? Магия? Какая еще магия? Она мне нравится. Другой раздает сюжет, а потом мы его делаем как хотим, говорится.
Reinardo slinked through Zenobia's ship, making no sound at all. Where were her guards? Finally, he reached her bedroom. She was curled up on her bed. Oh, he'd forgotten how beautiful she was. How sleek. How soft. He tapped her on the shoulder with his sword. She became smoke. And he noticed he had a blade to his throat. Stay a while. Heard a familiar voice. Did you really think you could capture me? Zenobia said as the ship lifted off. Now I just wanted some privacy, Reinardo said. Reinardo knew she still had feelings for him. Maybe he could just cut to the chase. But was timing right for that?
Так, а что это имеется в виду? Придержаться его плана, но узнал, что она теперь не должна быть ему, возможно, поэтому будет ей о своих чувствах, лучше придерживаться плана, завоевать ее сердце. Но он сказал, что она теперь не должна, возможно, он сообщил, надо сказать. Давай.
I know you want to be with me. Reinardo said. What? The Emperor's evil, babe. I'm nice. Remember how nice I was back in school?
Боже мой,
You were an
мастер
idiot in
подката.
school. You said it was funny.
Просто
Reynardo was
пикап мастер
not
по
to like where the
уровню.
conversation was going. The Emperor pulled me out of an alley. Don't tell me he's evil. Yeah, but did you ever wonder why? No, I didn't. Why don't you ask him? Well, because I know why.
О,
He wants
блин,
to
что-то я чувствую
sacrifice
плохая
you.
концовка.
You can
Что-то
tell him
не
that
так.
when he interrogates you. Can't we just start this over? But Zenobia shut him in the hold of the ship. He had no one to explain anything to until he was brought to the Emperor's interrogators. After that, it's just screaming. He had tried something bold and paid the price for it.
Ай, как это? 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 Как это так-то? Погодите, стойте, стойте, я не понял. Как это так это? Ладно.
The city was already under Zenobia's control.
Да ладно, что за
I had to admire her
блин, я
efficiency.
ж умру сейчас
Reynardo shivered
переделывать.
at the thought of Zenobia at the mercy of the interrogators. Would he really
Блин,
turn her over to
заново.
them?
Вот это жесть, я не знала, что
But
в
this was
итоге
war.
можно уберечь так,
It wasn't meant to be
выбрать.
pretty.
Она же...
Mustache, thought Reynardo.
Она же... О, ладно. Как-то это обидно. Я-то думал, в смысле, что мы такие... Взовем к ее сердце, бла-бла-бла. Это же истина. Странно, короче. Короче, было странно. О, руда.
This chess was really awesome. See what I did there?
Есть тебя хитить будут. Вот это. Ладно, видимо, придется пока придерживаться первоначального плана. Ну, хоть знаем. Узнали, что так нельзя, я надеюсь. Обида, конечно. Где?
Why was Lupino urging him to capture Zenobia? Obviously it was a trap.
Оу.
But you never knew how Lupino thought.
То есть как бы генерируется локация более-менее иначе.
They did the
Сейчас.
exact opposite to what
Okay.
Lupino wanted. And there must be some way to play on that, Reynardo thought.
Погнали.
Reynardo hated gogglers, but it freaked him out to cut them.
Ага. О,
So, what's this plan of yours? Use me as bait, said Lupino. And he outlined a
ладно,
slightly
договоримся,
complicated
согласимся,
plan that involved
хорошо.
geese, a net, setting the Farfarer a little bit on fire, Lupino dressing as an old blind toad, and Reynardo hiding inside a monstrous watermelon. What could possibly go wrong? Thought Reynardo.
ладно.
Oh, this is going to be fun, said Lupino, as he ran to go set up his marvelous plan.
Окей. Энтузиаст чертов.
Ooh, wouldn't this
Thomas.
gauntlet look
Okay.
swell with that jewel in it?
Давайте, так, это большой сундук. Плюшки все дела. Блин, это было случайно. Ну ладно. Понятно, запасы истощаются. Все.
Reinardo felt dubious about the whole plan. With every step, he was waiting for it all to go horribly wrong. But against all odds, Peppino's idiotic plan worked. Zenobia's ravens ran off after the geese, the net dropped, and Reinardo jumped out of the watermelon and put his sword to Zenobia's throat. Reinardo, she said, are those new scars? They look good on you. You never returned my velvet jacket. It was my favorite. You look stupid in velvet. Ah, what does an imperial princess know about style? Ah, get a room, you two, said Lupino, probably sensing the chemistry. But the fleet was coming on fast, so they took Zenobia east, over the Nexus. She'd vanished from Swordfish School, from his life, without even saying goodbye.
Понятно.
Without ever telling him she was the Emperor's adopted daughter, Reinardo was aware of her feelings. Maybe this was a bad idea, but was he letting his own feelings get the better of him?
Так, придерживаться плана. Попробуем в этот раз.
Ah, Lupino was right, Reinardo thought reluctantly.
Может, не
She knows
выключать?
things.
Ладно.
She recognized his look. You're taking me to the interrogator.
Ну, прости,
aren't you?
милый, это просто первый,
She
это
said,
единственный раз.
wide-eyed. And
Наверное.
then she jumped with horror. Reinardo saw Zenobia plummeting.
Ну,
Then he
еще
saw the
бы.
Nexus below them. Cats always land on their
Ни
feet.
хрена так высоко всадил.
She'll head for the Imperial outpost, yelled Lupino. You have to catch her.
Ну, пошли попробуем. Не знаю, получится ли.
Cats can run faster, but foxes can
Погнали.
run longer. If you ran, he could
Мне
head her
кажется,
off
у меня
before she
концовка
reached
будет
her
так, как у меня
minions at the
была.
outpost. Well,
Ну,
he
вот.
did love a
Тут
good
я не
chase.
нашла много по концовкам, ну хотя бы какого-нибудь. Хотя бы приблизительно, как говорится. Поэтому что-то не знаю. Что ты творишь, а? Угу.
Don't look down, he told himself. Don't look down.
Не боится он высоты. Мы же это уже выяснили. Угу.
Reinardo wondered idly if people who had built these poles had really, really long tentacles.
Стой. Тут чего-нибудь нет. Главное, не богу игра, ладно? Ты это любишь. Ну, понятно. забыл просто на месте. Вранище тут стоят. Отлично. Сюда нельзя, поэтому идем сюда. Так я очень надеюсь, что мы действительно сможем нормально, ну, как бы иную концовку, чем та, что у нас была. Как бы, и вроде мы делаем действия другие, поэтому пес ужасно, как говорится. Я говорю, я не нашла даже такого мануальчика даже. И куда мне? Ясно. Chop.
He was closing on her. He could smell her fear. He tried not to think about the interrogators at the secret base. What did they do to her? Maybe it didn't have to end that way. Maybe he could talk to her. But, after all, there were worse things the Imperials had done to friends of his.
Что уж говорить о том, кролики уже не до ребенки. Ну, сойдет. Свидетелей нужно убирать сразу. То есть это одно. Вау, просто.
Reinardo reached the outpost. The Imperials there were no match for him.
Так.
Soon after, Zenobia limped up the path. When she realized he was already in front of her, she didn't even try to run. Oh, you left without saying goodbye.
Again.
He said, please. I'm enjoying this a little too much. She said, shaken. Oh, spare us the chit-chat, would you? Said Lapino as he shackled her hands so she couldn't throw spells. She knows all his plans. All the way back to the Farfarer, Lapino nagged Reinardo about how the interrogator would pry all the intel out of Zenobia. How that would turn the tides in the imminent battle. All they had to do was take her to the rebel secret base. Reinardo didn't like to think about what the interrogators would do to her. Couldn't he just talk to her?
Нет, опять же,
As they
да,
reached
просто.
the ruins, Reinardo could see ravens everywhere searching for the rebel base. They'd have to hide the Farfarer and go on foot. What if we get separated? Asked Lapino, for once thinking ahead. I'll show you a map to the base. Reinardo told Lapino. Reinardo, don't do this, said Zenobia. We were friends once. We... Shut it, witch, or I'll shackle your mouth
Так,
too,
ты.
said Lapino.
Харе.
See? Reinardo thought. There was no way Lapino was working for the Empire. He really
Да,
hated it.
ненавидеть ее можно и без этого.
And then, a few moments later, they touched down.
Это для концовки. Я бы так не поступила. Слушайте, я вообще следующую концовку буду пытаться Иблиса, но я ее, простите, уже не убью. Мне, конечно, очень не хочется делать, но придется. Они как бы... Я знаю, как бы истинная концовка подлетела чуть-чуть. Чуть-чуть. Просто, чтобы посмотреть, когда там она открывается. Именно когда все истины или когда прям все собрано.
As Lapino pulled Zenobia off the Farfarer,
Так сказать, побыстрее.
Reinardo readied
Штаны.
himself for the battle ahead. I'm sorry I nicked your jacket, she said. It's just...
Aww.
It's stupid, but... It smelled like you. What? He said, confused. Then... Why didn't you ride? Why didn't you far speak? Oh, save the romantic nostalgia. Let's
Это
go!
пригорает,
Shrieked
понятно.
Lapino. So Reinardo launched himself down the path to the secret base.
Тут мы не были, поэтому это, опять же, ну, полуновая локация. Ага, понятно. Угу, апнем. Так.
Cool.
Да.
Wish I could do that.
Мы вымещаем гнев. Не пойми куда, короче, мы летим. Пойми куда. Вообще отлично. Прям руды, прям хоть убейся, как говорится. А куда мне, кстати? Это серьезно? О, господи, 15 тысяч. О, это много.
They caught their breath. It's beautiful, she said, looking at the ruins. This used to be the library of Ubar, he said. Before your father's ravens smashed it. Do we have to talk politics? She asked. That's not how I want to remember you, she said with an odd, wistful look at her face. She was as beautiful as she'd ever been, and as brave. Lapino huffed. They got back on the trail.
Пойдем.
Anyone ever tell you have a lovely eye? No?
Ладно, бы из нас остался, но не лень. Но мне лень, но мне лень, но мне лень, лень.
Give me a lever, said Archimedes.
Нет, проворота. Ой, боже, Рейнардо, ты такой так отжигаешь.
Long stairs. So he was close to the rebel base.
Пока все хорошо.
Everything was on fire.
Пока.
So far, so good.
Ну, блин. Там сундук, погодите.
What's behind? Door number 2.
Неодушевленный приятно, да. Между прочим, на энергии ничего не падает. Погнали. Понятно, забагованный труп. А это что такое? Понятно. Ход, вау. Назад, да?
As they made their way to the secret rebel base, Reinardo felt strange. Zenobia was his prisoner, yet somehow she felt more like an old friend. He wanted to tell her all his secrets, but suddenly the ruins lit up with thousands of fireworks. There was a thunderous roar and dust rose. The caves were collapsing. The caves? You've been playing me? Reinardo said, and he
stared at Zenobia. I'm sorry, she said, and she seemed almost embarrassed. Then everything went dark. When Reinardo came to, he had a terrible headache. Also, Zenobia's sword and her shackles were gone. So was Lupino. The terrible thing is, he said, I really have missed you. Now that we've destroyed
Я что, твою концовку открою или чё?
would you consider becoming an advisor to the Emperor's daughter? I'm no one's servant. Everybody serves.
Хотя бы судьбе.
Even if it's only destiny. I like to choose my own destinies, he said. The whole point of a destiny is you can't choose.
Не важно. Но мы это выбираем.
Never mind, she said. Look, if I see you again, I'll have to
Иблис
kill
не
you.
найди.
He watched her ship soar away. He would see her again, he decided.
Попно все.
Even if he had to fight his way across the entire fleet.
Что, последняя глава? Только мы ничего не выбирали пока что. Мне кажется, это будет концовка с кошкой. Что-то как странно. Я хотел кролика, получилось кошка. Как всегда, закон подлости сила.
The Imperial fleet was cleaning up the few rebel remnants. For only a moment, he thought about running. But heroes don't run, even when the world is against them.
Господи,
Even when their cause is hopeless, and their efforts futile, and pointless, and useless, and death painful and guaranteed. He's decided to stop thinking for a while.
Убить императора? Вот это что-то новое. У нас такого не было. Плюшками сейчас не сильно уже
Led right into the middle of the fleet. It was a glaring weakness in the defense.
Headshot. Все дела. Не, погоди, не. Здоровье мне надо. Погнали.
There was a sign. Take the goat across first.
Дальше.
Hey, I hear black is the new den.
Слышь ты, хватит его подкидывать. Охреневшие маленькие птички.
Reinardo's arm was sore, his armor wet with raven blood. He was tired of death. But death was not yet tired of him. The rebels were losing. Badly. In some other universe, Reinardo thought, he and Zenobia had left sword fu school together, taken other names and sailed off into the mists. But not this Zenobia. And not him. For him, there was nothing to do but forge ahead. Kill the Emperor and end this. Oh, now you smell even worse.
сражение с открытым. Нет, это удобно.
Soon he'd confront the Emperor. Again. This time, he'd make an end of him. He'd screwed up last time, but he had a good feeling about this time.
На удар, действительно. Ага. Ну что ж, пора заканчивать.
At last, he reached the Emperor's ship. Zenobia was there. Why'd you have to come back?
Угадай с 3 раз,
Guess
родная.
I'm just serving my destiny. He shrugged. You don't even know what that word means, she said. Do you ever wonder if things have been different all the time? She said, and drew her sword.
Отлично. Штаны, вы
In
чё?
the end, Reinardo lay bleeding out on the deck. Zenobia sat by his side.
То есть нормально, нас что, убили? Опять?
What are you so upset about? He asked. You wouldn't understand. Why didn't you tell me you were going to leave school? I was afraid you'd convince me not to. I guess I'll have to buy you a drink in the halls of the Valiant then,
А,
he
боже.
told her. And then he was gone. He should go back to some of the choices he'd faced before.
Да чё, я опять какой-то...
Maybe there were new paths that had opened up. Like those doors he was opening up all over the map.
Господи.
Took him to new treasures and around his enemies. And he hadn't learned anything new this time. He'd done the same thing twice, yet expected a different outcome.
Как это новое? Я ж новый. Ладно. Игра не хочет. Я хочу сказать, что я дебил. Ну ладно. Итак, мы открыли 10-ю концовку. Выгул, кошки. Что это за герой? Герой, который не спасается бегством, даже если против него весь мир. Вот это круто. Награда 20 рублей. Куря-куря-куря, как это называется. Ну, неплохо. Тут 2, тут 2, тут 2. Ой,
The book's
боже.
pages fluttered to the beginning once again. Faster than before, and he fell. The clouds parted over the Isles of Boreas. It was time to choose. The rebellion was in trouble. Ravens were scouting for the secret rebel base. They needed a game changer. Pieces of the Sky Ripper had surfaced.
Блин, да может так
Reinardo
представить?
knew that using it could go catastrophically wrong. But he was sure he could figure out how to use it safely. Also, a temple had risen out of empty desert, as tempting as it was to explore ancient mysteries. There was a war going on, and also, his old friend Lupino needed rescuing. Of course, Reinardo had a pretty strong suspicion that Lupino had betrayed the rebellion, but could Reinardo really leave an old friend to the Ravens?
Итак, закончим эту серию, получили очередную концовку Зенобии. Все круто, все хорошо. Концовок теперь у нас 5. Мы счастливы, аки попугайчики. Итак, подписывайтесь, ставьте комментарии, я оставлю ссылочку на группу ВК в описании. Давайте проходим интересные игры вместе. Давайте откроем хоть какие-нибудь еще концовочки, что ли, для счету. Итак, всем пока.